Is there anything in this world that we need more than faith? I don't think so. The kind of faith that moves us to get on our knees and then get back on our feet and go to work. Not to minimize the need for hard work and labor and study. They're both vital for a successful life. But without faith and prayer, we will fall short and lack in the most important things of our life. There are times in all of our lives where things don't go as planned. It may even seem that things seem so dark that we may struggle to move forward. For me, when I reach those times, it helps me to read past stories of the early saints and the struggles that they had. It puts my own problems into perspective. That what I'm facing doesn't seem quite so bad. Not that I'm putting rose-colored glasses on or anything, but it helps to look beyond the current negatives and beyond the doubtful to see what can happen if I remain positive and be affirmative in my actions. Many of you know the story of Heber C. Kimball, who was a member of the Quorum of the 12. He was a wonderful example to me of someone who faced real trials and hardships in faith and hope. If you recall, Elder Kimball was called to serve as a missionary in England. And this was during a very trying time. They were in Kirtland, Ohio, and the entire country was mired in a financial collapse of 1837. And the church was not immune to the country's problems. It was having its own financial problems. And in Kirtland, the people had turned against the prophet. Problems were compounded by the fact that the saints were located in Ohio and Missouri, 800 miles apart, and very little communication between the two. Try to imagine what that was like for most members during that time. They had very little in terms of worldly possessions, including the prophet Joseph, who was telling a man who had practically nothing, who had just returned from a mission, to leave again and to cross an entire ocean and to leave his family to struggle to survive without him. Elder Kimball did not even own a coat. He had to be loaned a coat before he left. Of course, we know what happened. Taking the gospel to England was hugely successful. Despite all the hardships these men, their wives, and their families had to face, they had the faith to keep moving forward, not knowing what the future held, but they trusted that the Lord would provide. It's an important lesson for us all to learn that when we have trials, keep the gospel close, keep our families close. I recently drove my parents to a funeral, and it was to a cousin of my mom, and there were many in the family that I hadn't seen. Many I hadn't even seen at all, but many I had not seen in years and years, and I hardly recognized them. But after visiting for just a few minutes, it seemed like that gulf of time just evaporated. We began to reminisce about old times and the others that were no longer with us. I feel that's what it will be like when we leave this mortal earth, return and see our loved ones. That it will seem like it was no time when we last saw them. There are better days ahead for all of us who will keep the faith. Why do we come to State Conference? We come here to feel the Spirit, to learn, to be taught, but also to support and strengthen one another. And what a wonderful conference this has been. I feel I have been truly spiritually fed last night and this morning. Those wonderful messages that have been given. One of the primary purposes of us being here is lifting each other up, is fortifying ourselves and those around us, to strengthen our testimonies of the gospel, fortify us against temptation and sin. It still amazes me that some talks I feel like were given, and today I felt the same, I felt this, that some talks were given for me, for Gary Murray. I needed that talk today. I'm so grateful for the messages that have been delivered here today and last night. We are truly blessed in making the effort to be here. We're blessed for raising righteous families. I look at these young families. We all appreciate the sacrifices you're making. I know it's not easy. 2 hours is a long time to keep little kids still, isn't it? We've been there. I can tell you, from our experience, we've been there too. It's worth it. It is worth it, I promise you. It may be a struggle at times, but it's worth it. For those of you in the back, I know when the lights are down a little bit, it's even more difficult. The kids feel a little freer, don't they, when it's a little bit darker. They're not quite as reverent, and they're anxious to get up. I can remember, it reminds me of when our kids were small, and back then General Conference was held. You had to come to the chapel, and they would turn the lights down throughout the building so you could see the telecast. And the kids, 2 hours, at the end of the 2 hours, you were a nervous wreck trying to keep them quiet. And I still remember one of the girls saying to the other one, "I don't like this movie, do you?" And she said it loud enough. Everyone around us could hear it. And my wife looked at me with that nervous smile. See, young families, we remember it. I promise you, stay strong. Your kids will grow up and they'll get through this. You will get through this. I promise you that. It's important that we build these bonds with our children. When I was a kid, I didn't grow up in the church, but I had wonderful parents. And my dad was busy. He was always busy doing a lot of different activities. But he coached me in Little League Baseball. It was a wonderful experience. It helped build that bond between us. I can remember when my girls were little, I wanted that bond. And I love baseball. My wife does not. For some reason, she thinks it's boring to watch. So I decided I wanted my girls to play fast pitch softball. So we started off with village pitch and worked up to fast pitch, and I coached them just like my dad did. There were some wonderful memories. But there was a good example for me of my children developing faith in me. One experience with one of my girls. The ball kept rolling between her legs on the ground balls when she was playing infield, and the ground ball kept rolling under her glove. And I kept telling her, keep your head down. Keep your head down, I promise you, it will stop the ball from rolling under your glove. And at home, it even worked on it. But it wasn't long after that we were in a game, and this big girl was at bat. And these are 12-year-old girls, and she hit the ball really hard. And it was a ground ball straight at my daughter. And what happens? It takes a bad hop and hits her right in the face. It knocks her on the back. She's crying. I run out there, hold her in my arms, and she looks at me with tears coming down, and a big red spot that later became a knot. I said, "Dad, you promised me this wouldn't happen." I just held her and said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." But when we got home, we worked on keeping your eye on the ball also for bad hops. But it strengthened our bond, and she understood that Dad does make mistakes. It's important for us all when we're raising a family for our children to see us. And not only making good decisions, but when we make mistakes, don't hide them from our children. Own up to it. Move forward. If you're on the wrong path, get on the right path quickly. Let your children learn from your mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. Our children should also learn from our mistakes. I can't think of a better example of someone who followed the gospel, lived the gospel, than our prophet Joseph Smith. It's so important for us to follow the words of our prophet, to keep the commandments, all of them, to do those things that build our faith and strengthen our faith, be anxiously engaged in faith-building activities. prophet Joseph wrote from Liberty Jail, "Therefore, dearly beloved brethren, let us cheerfully do all things that lie in our power. And then we may stand still with the utmost assurance to see the salvation of God and for his arm to be revealed." If we are truly converted to the gospel, it requires a commitment from us. And there is no better example than someone who was totally committed than the prophet Joseph. He was a victim of persecution and ridicule, yet he never faltered. He had seen a vision, he knew it, and he knew God knew it. As Latter-day Saints, let us be committed to live as Latter-day Saints, using the Savior as our model. I'm reminded of a story of a little 5-year-old boy who fell out of bed in the middle of the night, came to crying to his mom's bedside, and she asked, "Why did you fall out of bed?" And he replied, "I fell out because I wasn't in deep enough." I believe that's a question we should all ask ourselves. Am I in deep enough? Is the depth of my technology, of my faith, and of my testimony deep enough to withstand the darts of the adversary? As we become spiritually stronger, we find the greater our capacity to serve, and the greater the joy we find in serving. The more we serve, the more we want to serve. We will sense an urgency to get our family history done, to get our temple work done. We will find it easier to open our mouths to our friends and neighbors about the blessings of the gospel. We will be anxiously engaged in serving others. We will find ourselves saying, "Is it already the end of the day?" rather than, when will the day ever end? The early pioneers did not have time to wallow in discouragement. They were too busy working their way towards Zion. We should be modern-day pioneers, and anxiously and excited to be engaged in good works. We can have this experience described in Helaman. Nevertheless, they did fast and pray oft, and did wax stronger and stronger in their humility, and firmer in the faith of Christ, fulfilling their souls with joy and consolation, yea, even to the purifying and the sanctification of their hearts, which sanctification cometh because of the yielding their heart unto God. I know that the Savior lives, and he will help us. He will help us strengthen our own faith, help us in the face of the dark of the adversary.